So Degenerate Crow actually responded to my video, and a comment of course, and it's even worse than the dumpster fire I covered initially. So let's just take a look at this phenomenal counter-argument from the inflation furry.
Oh god, this is awful. Point 1. But sex reassignment is mutilation. No, mutilation is inflicting a violent or disfiguring injury on person. Using a negative word like mutilation to describe something that is actually a surgical procedure. Surgery is an invasive technique with the fundamental principle of physical intervention on organs, organ systems, tissues, or diagnostic therapeutic reasons, used to help trans people. Would be transphobic, as it would be trying to frame their treatment as a bad thing.
It mutilates and disfigures the genitals to take on the appearance which it isn't meant to, and has a negative side effects, which we'll be discussing later. It is mutilation done by intent. That isn't transphobic simply because you're in denial of what it actually is.
Point 2. Heart surgery isn't as important as sex reassignment surgery. The fact you took at that is literally stupid. The point is, they are both medically necessary procedures to help someone, since sex reassignment surgery can cure gender dysphoria, something that can very well lead to suicide. Not to mention hate crimes committed against trans people that can be avoided by looking like their desired sex. It would be very important and medically necessary procedure.
No, you're misinterpreting my words and then responding. You made the comparison that heart surgery and a cosmetic surgery, sex reassignment surgery, was the same thing. You directly attempted to compare the two over and over to try and push both are medically necessary as you just did right now. Again, it would only be medically necessary if the genitals were putting the rest of the body at risk. Examples like infections, or the insane one, a large tumor taking nutrients away from the body. It isn't a medically necessary procedure as it doesn't inherently save the body. Again, causation versus correlation. It is a cosmetic surgery. Also, not to mention the fact that the surgery won't make you look the way you want entirely. Sure, your penis has been inverted and looks like a vagina, but there's plenty of other differences between men and women. Bone structure, muscle mass, muscle structure, space for organs in the abdomen, skin structure, and so on. Sure, some who commit to this can look very well in passing, but most not so much.
Point 3. It's just a cosmetic surgery, like getting a bigger butt. Yet again, with trans people this is different. Sex reassignment surgery isn't done because they want to look different, but because gender dysphoria can often make them commit suicide or make suicide attempts.
Point 3 collides with point 2. You state sex reassignment surgery isn't done because they want to look different, but also said prior, by looking their desired sex. Literally, the purpose of the surgery is to take your current genitals and have them altered so that they look like the genitals you want them to look like. That is the whole premise of the procedure. And when I bring it up, you deny it, but you deny it because it doesn't fit what you want. But when you bring it up, it's supposed to help you. You really, really are bad at this.
Point 4. This person isn't upset with their appearance of their heart, they are upset they could die. Point 1 again, also it isn't just, oh, I'm upset about my body. Gender dysphoria causes significant distress or impairment in social, occupational, or other areas of functioning. People who have gender dysphoria also often experience discrimination, resulting in minority stress. Access to health services and mental health services can be difficult due to fear of stigma and a lack of experienced providers. These are serious problems. The point isn't health surgery equals sex reassignment surgery. The point is that they are both medically necessary function in important areas. Again, you're restating one of your points in the video. It literally is them being upset with their body. You keep throwing around the term medically necessary, when in fact, cosmetic surgery is not medically necessary. If we were discussing reconstructive surgery, you'd actually have a leg to stand on. Cases like reconstructing the damaged organ. However, cosmetic, which is sex reassignment surgery, it is damaging the current existing organ and forcing it to take the appearance of another. Point 5. Causation and correlation. Penis doesn't cause suicide. Yeah, gender dysphoria does. A serious mental disorder, as explained earlier, leads to suicide in most cases if untreated. The best treatment is sex reassignment surgery. If you don't think it's important to prevent suicide, you're a fool.
Maybe if people were more accepting of who they are as a person and society wasn't so divided, things wouldn't be this manic. Causation is the heart, correlation is a suicide to the penis or the vagina. Are you telling me the genitals are whispering and trying to convince the body to commit suicide?
Jeff, wake up.
What? Who's there?
He's not against trans people getting the help they need. Strider's words. I would hate to think that any of my friends would mutilate themselves when referring to same-sex surgery.
If he was transphobic, he wouldn't use the terms friends. Of course, no one wants their friends to make such a decision and damage their body permanently. He doesn't want them dead, but he doesn't want them to mutilate themselves in an effort to try and be happy.
Point 7. It's just an opinion. Defending your viewpoint with mere opinion fails because I can also say, in my opinion, I can say your opinion is fucking dog shit. More so, this isn't a difference of opinion on ice cream flavors. It's people getting help that's need bad, and spreading that viewpoint to a wider audience.
Yeah, you can, but you didn't just say, in my opinion, your opinion is bad. No, instead, you set out to try and cancel him for his views. Let's take a look at this comment thread. Crow, it was one video, and it is almost 4 years old. His response was bad, but that video was really old. That's like calling someone racist for something they said 5 years ago. Oh, so have they apologized since then or shown any sign of growth and change on the issue? As far as I can tell, he hasn't even mentioned trans people since. So he should be called out for it. In worst case scenario, he acts like an adult and explain how his views have changed for the better. So you have an opinion that isn't mine, that I don't like? 4 years ago? How fucking dare you? You apologize or get called out. That's basically what you sound like.
Point 8. It's not reversible. No penis. Now penis can only pee. Wrong, actually. In both cases, the female and male, they've been able to make sex organs that can actually perform sex. They don't just slap on a fake dick and call it a day. They use the nerve ending from your prior sexual part to create a new sexual part, then feel sexual pleasures thanks to the nerve endings. Do your research next time like I did before I made this video. I did not know it could be reversed, and now I do. Sure, you may not be able to produce cum, but adoption is always an option. It's not going to be 100% perfect, but it's going to be horrible either. And you can get a functioning penis again if needed.
Again, you claim that surgery itself was entirely reversible, as if all would be the same. You lose sensitivity from the penis, and even from the vagina in both surgeries, you lose sensitivity. Also, no testicles. I love the little do your research when it's been you steadily not knowing what in the fuck you're talking about. If you can't get back everything you had, then it's not reversible. It's just substituting.
Point 9. Sex reassignment surgery doesn't change your gender. Yeah, it doesn't. Would have known. Gender is not a physical thing. Gender is not your dick. Sex is. There is 2 sexes, male and female. Well, 3 actually. Intersex exists.
That was my point. It's people like you who claim gender and sex are separate when that claim has no evidence, but steadily obsess over sex reassignment surgery. You claim what's in your pants doesn't matter, but then obsess over altering your genitals. Sex and gender are one and the same. We called males boys, men, and we called females girls or women. Most of us, 98.7% of us, are born XY males and XX females. Gender was always based on sex. And before you try and use intersex, 1, even those who are intersex isn't its own gender or sex. They're almost in between, but lean more male or female based on their biology. Second, intersex doesn't mean an XY male gets to claim that he's a woman.
Point 10. You can't change sex. Correct, actually, but that's why it's referred to as sex reassignment surgery. Reassignment is the allocation or distribution of work or resources in a different way. However, this still makes people feel comfortable with their bodies and stops gender dysphoria. It's not just cosmetic either. It changes hormones as well. Those hormones can also help negate the effects of gender dysphoria. Factors like chromosomes don't matter, because most trans people don't go, I might have the sexual organs and hormones of the sex I feel comfortable with. Oh dear golly, these DNA molecules. That's like saying prosthetic legs is bad, stupid, because it's not a real leg, so what's the point?
Sex reassignment, but it has to reassign something. An inverted penis isn't a vagina. That is true. But it doesn't help your argument. Yes, removing your testicles does interfere with your hormones and alter them, which isn't a good thing considering hormones play a huge role in our biology at our ages. It is still a cosmetic surgery. Semantics aren't helping you. The point was, even if you invert your penis and take on the appearance of a woman, doesn't mean you are. You're comparing the fact that men who dress up and have their genitalia altered to look like women aren't women. Oh, so that's like saying don't get prosthetic legs because they're not real legs. No, that's not a comparison at all. We're talking about men dressing up, taking the appearance of a woman to push the claim that they are a woman to prosthetic legs to help someone walk who doesn't have legs. Again, that is completely different. You make false equivalences all the time. That is the biggest problem with your debating. You fail at it because you constantly compare things that are not similar whatsoever. And you do that to try and push it further and further and further. But really, it's just setting you back further and further and further.
Point 11. You only called him out for views to police someone's views when the video was old. And what he said was still wrong. And I didn't know he changed because there's no proof that he had that was available. Even then, there's still people with the same mindsets like him. And this video helps to debunk those views, if you're actually open-minded. Also, it's not policing someone's views, it's challenging them, like you are challenging mine. By calling what I do policing, you are poorly framing something completely normal. And it shouldn't be obvious and go without saying, don't attack people online and harass, even if they are bad people. I don't have to say this because adults should know better, and I'm not their parents. Ironically enough, it looks as if you just Googled it, without clicking links and reading more into things. You done goofed.
What he said wasn't right or wrong, it was his own view on the subject. You expected him to apologize, and if not, have him called out for wrong think. Your video doesn't debunk anything, because you cherry pick, you make false equivalences, and go back and forth on your own words. 1 minute, it's to get the desired look, and when that's used against you, it's the surgery isn't just for them to look the way they want. When, in fact, that is its literal purpose. You claim that it's reversible. I point out that it isn't, and you try the semantics of, well, they can still have sex, without getting into the fact that they can't obtain everything they once had, which means that it wasn't reversed, it was just substituted. Which is why it's known as irreversible, because it does irreversible damage to the genitalia that you best be sure that you want. You done fucked up heavily on this one, and your response just makes the hole deeper. But if you'd like, we can actually debate gender as a whole and our views. We can discuss this on Discord, get into a call, maybe stream it in general. We can just have a debate. Also, let's try to get to know this person. If you're curious, this is what his Twitter page looks like. Obviously, pronouns in the bio. Femme, non-binary, bi, lesbian. Bi, lesbian. It's either you're bisexual or you're lesbian. Make up your mind. You can't be both. Bisexual means you like both. Lesbian means you're a woman who likes women. Which we already know, and that's not very accurate. A warning for liking an SFW. Oh, I bet. Is it me or is the majority of the CC just a bunch of confused, angsty sex deviants from Tumblr and DeviantArt? I should also mention, this is the same type of person who tried to raid Pokemon's Discord for transphobia. I'm not saying raids are bad, but that reasoning just screams social justice. Now, to those who claim I'm making this up because your precious, degenerate crow is put up on stage and made fun of, just remember, he's the one who chose to try and attack Phantom Strider for wrong think. I haven't made anything up. I have no need to make things up when he provides me with everything I need to do this. Anyways, till next time, folks. So there have been some recent developments, and I'm not going to get too specific into it. But with that said, I am going to give you just a little bit. Okay, so here's the mentions of me from Crow's server. Make a counter vid against Akumu and make it uncensored, and if it ever evolves into a channel war, then monetization. Support, since you can't let Akumu let you insult you like that. Deviant Crow should have to cover Akumu. Screw it, I'm taking action at downvoting Akumu's video. I expect more, and I expect them to freak out because there is a rule against taking screenshots. And I wonder why that's totally not suspicious that a public Discord has a rule against taking screenshots in said public Discord. I wonder what possible reason that could be. But anyways, it's just funny. And I was gonna have this segment make fun of some of the terrible defenses. There's one of Degenerate Crow's stands in there that is like just trying absolutely fucking desperately to deflect any criticism given to Degenerate Crow. And so it's pretty sad. I mean, to use alts to try and mass dislike a video. They still failed at that part. They got to 13. Let's give them that. They got to 13. So let's give them a good, a good pat on the back, and give them a good cookie, a gold star, and send them on their way. They got to 13.